really, because that's in the fourth way, they provide clear direction. To learn about this self-observation, which is mindfulness, and to engage in this as often as possible. But that is a portal toward this self-remembering. So to learn about this practice of self-remembering, that we done in the beginning, and to bring this more and more and more often in everyday life. That's the shield and that's the sword. And with this, to tackle what's called the obstacles to self-consciousness, which are areas where we're most asleep, where we leak energy. And those are imagination, the daydreaming, then the identification, which is a little bit harder to tackle because we are in it all the time. This non-expression of negative emotion, but it's not an end in itself, because we are basically leaking and spending the energy of is given from God and food and air. We are blowing it. Energy that you want. You need energy in order to arrive at more like peace and presence, but we are blowing it through negative emotions, reactivity. Inner considering, to investigate and bring awareness to this inner considering, diminishing it. There's the element of lying, which is a big area. We're going to talk in our time, but lying is also this out of integrity with people, but also not being real, not being able to be oneself, not, being fake, inauthentic, as well as talking about things we don't know, talking as if we know, exaggerating. Then this unnecessary talk, talking uselessly, associated talking, all of that. So these are the very clear areas where we are, it's our sleep. Our sleep is like that. So in the fourth way, they say, hey man, listen, learn some self-remembering, self-observation, and tackle your sleep with self-remembering. So bring awareness to all these areas. So this is already areas, big areas. So you start to plug the leaks, there's less leaking, and then basically you start to accumulate, and also you start to have more frequency of self-remembering. Just meditating and doing everything else like that is not going to work. You can meditate, but then you are blowing, identifying, and considering, reactive all day. You are gaining here, losing here. Then you go towards this studying false personality, getting more, judgment, gossip, this self-pity, deficiency story. So the idea is to struggle with. It's not effortless. Sorry to say, I know the direct path, and he's right. At some level, that which is aware is effortless, but that is asleep for us, and we are into this fucking effort of being twisted in a knot. So we need to have a lot of effort to untwist ourselves from a knot. So struggling in a certain organized way, you cannot do this alone. So you need to have 3 lines of work, or at least 2 lines of work, like working on oneself, studying, meditating, applying. Then second line, what we're doing here. And you need to be consistent and steady for a long time. And it's going to get increasingly it's going to get it will be less torture. I mean, it will be unpleasant, because the more aware you are and you study these things, you're going to be horrified a little bit. But you're already kind of horrified. I think you already went past that stage. So then you, but as you think that landscape will change, there will be less of this, less of that, more presence, more peace, more frequencies. You start to have more frequency of that being home, and more duration of being home, and more depth of being home.
And may I add something here, Mihai, that
Because I think
yes, and then we'll take a break. Yes, I just want to say, what happens is, and you're already seeing this, Jamie, is we become more and more conscious of the fact that we're not conscious. We become more and more aware that we're not aware. It's a strange way it happens. And that's actually progress. But because we're seeing it, what we see, it seems like it's not. We seem like it's confusing, or it's discouraging or uncomfortable. What did Gurdjieff say, Mihai? You'll become horrified. It's horrifying at times. But we're actually making progress because we're becoming more conscious of the fact that we're not conscious. This is the beginning of true conscious awareness. And this has to go on. This has to continue until this becomes completely, fully saturated. It's almost like you have to wake up to the fact that you are always asleep. That's an extreme statement, but it's sort of true. And only when you see that do you cross a threshold. And until then, it's more and more the realization that you are asleep more than you realize, and more often than you realize. And this is good. This is progress in this work and in the process of we call in the fourth way anyway, conscious evolution. So again, remember, what happens is there's a feeling of discouragement, a feeling of confusion, a feeling of being horrified. And to see that, something sees that. You become conscious of the fact that you were not conscious, and then you become horrified at that. And then you become conscious of being horrified at having been horrified at the fact that you were not conscious. So this is good. Congratulations, Jamie. Honestly. Honestly.